Good evening, everybody. This is Mason Sims, and welcome to another episode of our show. Joining us this evening is Miss Brandy Tarleton. She is running for first vice chair of the Pickens County Republican Party, and the election will be held at the county convention will actually be this Friday at Southern Wesleyan University. So those of you that registered as county delegates, make sure you have that marked on your calendar. And Ms. Tarleton is going to be sharing with us some of her plans for the Republican Party for Pickens County once elected. So we'll be hearing that. And whoever wins, just hopefully they can bring the party together. It's definitely divided right now. So thank you, Brandy, for taking this time to speak with us this evening. So again, my name is Mason Sims, and let's get started. Well, good evening, everybody. This with me I have Miss Brandy Tarleton, and Brandy, thank you for joining us again this evening.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, those of you that did not watch my previous interview with you a few months ago, just go ahead and tell us about yourself.
I've just kind of started to be a local activist. It really started after COVID when the government just came knocking on my door, and I didn't want to get involved. I was really wanting just to be left alone. And, when they started trying to mask us and trying to keep us away from, visiting people in the hospital, nursing homes, when they started calling certain businesses non essential, when they started closing churches and saying that close churches were non essential. I mean, that was when it was just too far. And I started to do a little bit of research and started to go to meetings and figure out, who's doing this. But what really pushed me over the edge was after the election, 2020, and there were so many questions that were obvious, to anybody on both sides. It was very nonpartisan. Obviously, there was things that didn't look right, that just questions weren't answered, and I just knew that they would figure it out. They would start answering these questions, and the questions were just pushed under the rug, and nobody ever answered the questions. And I realized I need to get involved so that it doesn't happen again. So that's when I kind of really started going to meetings and getting involved with like-minded organizations like conservatives upstate. That's actually where I started, because I was almost to the point where I didn't feel like I was Republican, because if Lindsey Graham's a Republican, I'm not a Republican. It left a really bad taste in my mouth. But then after getting to know local conservatives, I realized I wasn't alone in my thoughts and that we could actually do something about it. So then, we just started working with other campaigns and just trying to find conservatives to run, and conservatives that could beat incumbents that really had poor conservative or even just Republican platform voting records. And we've been very successful with helping different candidates, and became a candidate myself. And the reason I wanted to get involved on a leadership type level is because I believe that the Pickens County Republican Party should be a megaphone for the body. And that if the body is upset about a certain politician, a certain elected official that's not voting right, and they want us to let the public know, hey, they voted on this bill incorrectly, then we can put facts only. We won't put hearsay or rumors. It'll be facts only. I would want to actually put the bill itself, how the politician voted, and give them a chance to redeem themselves. Everybody gets a pass every once in a while. Some of the things, like for budget, or there's just certain things in the platform that can't have wiggle room,
Right.
like school choice, or there's a lot of different opinions on just different principles of our platform. So give them an opportunity to maybe redeem themselves. But if it becomes a consistent habit and they become consistently a bad voter, that's when we need to allow the body to seek out another candidate and try to see if we can get someone that will uphold the platform. And that's actually the state party's mission statement, is to promote the platform and to get candidates elected that will uphold it. So that's my primary focus, is just to make sure that we don't lose momentum from what we've done over the last several years, and to continue to make sure that our elected officials hold to their word when they said that they ran as a Republican.
Right. And I think communication is key too. So I feel like, as long as the constituents of the elected official know they're reaching out to that person, not just, attacking them or attacking he or she.
That's right.
Just when something goes on. I mean, at least try to reach out and communicate with the person.
Absolutely.
And then if something, like say they get a rude response from the elected official or they don't hear back, then that's kind of when you start to see if someone needs to be replaced or not.
And what I would really hope that the party would do, which we did in some ways. I mean, Rex Rice, there's a lot of people that hate on him for some of the things that he votes on, but you know what? He shows up, he answers questions, and I really respect him for that because he's one of the few that does it, and he's really taken a lot of heat for the library and his bill to try to help with the funding for the obscene material and trying to get that out of the library. And he is really taking a lot of heat, and he's not getting a lot of credit for that. But anytime he does any type of bill, like he had one for the health czar, and people were, which that's fine that they're passionate about that, but he still shows up to meetings and he still answers questions. I mean, I really respect that, and I wish more politicians would be willing to do that. But now that we have members that have become elected, hopefully they'll be more willing to uphold the platform. And if they have a questionable vote, they'll come and say their piece, because maybe we don't know all the facts about the bill, because some of the bills, they really are poison pills. You think it's something good, you think, oh, it's supporting something certain in the budget, but then you find out there's a little poison pill in there to where it's actually really detrimental, so they vote against it. So we need to have an opportunity for them to tell us their side of the story. So I really hope that we get to a point to where they're willing to come and speak to us.
Yeah, Rex Rice, Davey Hyde, and Alex said, and some people have mixed feelings, but I will say is that they are approachable. And I will say, I know he was your opponent, but it was whenever I've reached out to Neil Collins, at least he'll respond, like if I send a text message to that. And he is actively involved too with our school as well. So yeah, but yeah, so you're running for first vice chair for the Republican Party. And so, what would you say that your plans are for the party, and how you plan to unite the party? Since especially a lot of those that stay involved in local issues, they know the party's divided right now. So, what are your plans for that once elected?
Well, I think I mean, I hear that there's division, and I think that the root of it, in my mind, that I've seen is that there's people that want us to be involved in elections, and there's people that don't want us to be involved in elections. Now, involved is a very uh, subjective term, because what is involved? Because we're the Republican Party, we have to be involved in some sense. What I do think is that the body should guide what the party is doing. So if the body wants to endorse a certain candidate, if it gets the vote, that's fine. But I think that when you're saying you don't want to get involved in elections, why are we even here? I mean, that's kind of that's certainly the reason that I showed up to the Republican Party, because I saw that my elected officials were doing something I didn't want them to do, and I wanted the party to do something about it. But then I realized, like, I am the party. Like, the leadership is not who guides the ship; it's the body. So I personally, what I want to do is I want to bring accountability, branding, and community involvement. So I think accountability that for the leadership and for the elected officials. So that way, if they have a vote that's not favorable to our platform, put it out there, and it's more of it to empower voters, because if they don't know the good and the bad votes, they can't. I mean, as a party, we've kind of failed them because we're not letting them know the candidates and the incumbents where they stand on issues. That's literally our job. So I think that when you have accountability and you have yourself as an information portal for voters, because right now people really don't know we even exist. That's part of the next step, the branding. You have to know that we exist, and you have to make your brand to where you're an information portal. People know this is where I go to find out how my representative votes. This is where I go to find out how to get involved. This is where I go to find out how to get involved with a campaign's a campaign activity. And part of the branding too is that we're kind of branded. I mean, when I knock on people's doors, we're branded as the party of Lindsey Graham's. We've got to change that branding. We've got to change the branding for Pickens County, because we're one of the most conservative counties in the state, yet people don't even know we exist. So we have to find our people.
Yeah, I'd say over the past few years, it has. I mean, it's not to where it needs to be, but it has gotten better as far as getting the word out.
Yeah, it has. And something that I started last year before I even thought about running was trying to get more community involvement. And I tried to get involved with like the Hope Women's Center and get us involved in their yearly 5K fundraiser. And also I did some outreach opportunities where we just set up at Treats on the Street and Easily and the Christmas parade. So that way, it just to get our name out there that we exist, just an opportunity, an inexpensive opportunity at that, just to fly the banner and let people know that we exist. And we actually got a really good response from that because people were like, "Oh my gosh, we have a Republican Party in Pickens County." So that was nice, but I want to do more of that, more of like patriot picnics for like communities, so we can get together and like get to know our neighbors. I actually have a conspiracy theory about the lack of sidewalks in communities because it's a very communist thing to do because they don't want you to know your neighbors. And over the last, I mean, especially since COVID, a lot of people have really shut themselves in and they don't know their neighbors. They don't communicate outside of social media. It's really anti-social media. So we need to bring back like block parties and bring back like just getting to know your neighbor in a very a non-threatening setting. Like a lot of people don't want to go to meetings. Who wants to go to a meeting? But who wants to go to a barbecue or a picnic or a block party? Like that's fun. You can bring the whole family. We can have little games for the kids, and it can just be. And that's another thing. I want to get community engagement and the children back into it because I would love to have, uh, even if it's videos or just events for kids, Constitution for kids, just a quick little, maybe like 30-minute primer on just Constitution, Bill of Rights, basic history, just different things. Because we actually went camping this last weekend at Kings Mountain State Park, and we went to the military park. When I was walking through there, I actually got a little irritated because the place is really cool, but I didn't know any of that. And I'm sure they taught me in South Carolina history, but they didn't go as far as any further than just reading it out of a textbook. They didn't take us to and they're all around us, military, but we never were taken to any of the military parks. And it really would have made history come alive. So we're actually thinking about even doing like field trips to where like, on one Saturday, we're all going to like go to Kings Mountain State Park and learn about the Over Mountain Men or go to Camden or Cowpens. That's probably not the better ones because they were sorely defeated. But some of
Yeah, yeah, I like Calvin's. I mean, that's I've walked it a few times.
yeah, I mean,
Nice area.
it's important, and I would even say a good 40% of our Republican Party right now is newcomers from other states. They don't know our history, and I think that would really empower them and inspire them to get more involved if they knew just how much history and how much they had to lose, and these people that got involved in South Carolina. It is really mind blowing. So, but anyways, but with community engagement, I definitely want to get more people involved. I just want to have more information. I want to be a portal for information, the Republican Party, because right now we're doing okay, but people don't think of when something happens in the news, they don't think of us. They think of like Charlie James or Tara. They think of that kind of stuff. But I want to think of the Pickens County Republican Party. Like we need to go find out what's going on.
Yeah, and all starts at the local levels.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and one thing, this is what I gathered from several members of the Republican Party. The first one is I know he withdrew from the race now, but I was told, and this is just what I heard, that Rick Sinikowski, he was your campaign manager or state representative, or he was big contributor in some way.
No, he didn't. He wasn't involved at all in my campaign. I really didn't have a campaign manager when I started out. Let's see. Well, I actually had a guy out of Virginia that was kind of helping me with the marketing and with some of the messaging and the branding and some different stuff. But he was very costly, and I didn't feel like that was a good that was being a good steward of the money that was given me. So I was trying to really be fiscally conservative. So I didn't use him any longer.
Right.
And I really just didn't have anybody. So it was really, and I wish I would have at least found one. Well, I actually did find a guy that was more local, but he was booked up. No, I didn't really have a campaign manager at all. But no, Rick didn't help me. They did door knock with me once, I believe.
Okay.
But no.
Yeah, and the one thing too, I guess what led you to your decision to join this slates? I know it's probably difficult because both slates they at least donated and helped you in the campaign in some shape or form. So that probably was a difficult decision.
Yeah, well, that's why I haven't joined a slate. I only am running as a lone candidate, and the reason because actually Rick had asked me to join his slate when he started, and I just really don't like slates. They did it the last reorganization, and I just don't like the clicky feeling of a slate where you just feel like it's all or nothing. Like it's these people or whatever. I like the idea of picking and choosing because, for instance, I don't think there's another candidate for second vice chair. I've worked with Darlene. I know Darlene. Darlene would be a great second vice chair. I just don't know the vice chair hasn't really been involved in the party very much, so I don't know much about her. And the chair don't know much about her. That's the issue I have with that slate is because Rhonda, we know Rhonda. We've worked with Rhonda. I have no doubt that she would be a fire in Columbia. So,
Yeah, Darlene, she was really helped out Thomas Beach this campaign.
Yes.
So that,
in the last campaign, he wouldn't have gotten elected if it wasn't for her.
oh yeah.
So that's why I don't like slates because I really think it's who has put in the grunt work, who do we know has contributed to the party, who have we vetted, and people don't like the word vetted because they but truly you see who's and with Rick running for chair that made sense. He did a lot of work. Him and Melanie and the whole team they did a lot of work. That made sense. But what didn't make sense was when the new chair ran because honestly I'd never seen her until she announced and then I met her after that. So that was kind of strange.
Right.
So I don't know if there'll be a third candidate for vice chair but really my thing is I think that I don't like the idea of slates. I want people to be able to pick and choose freely who they feel, who they've had contact with. Because maybe people have had more contact with Kathy. They know her more than Neil. Or maybe people have had more contact with Rhonda, which Rhonda knows a lot of people. But I don't like locking people into a certain set of candidates.
That makes sense, yeah. And I spoke with several people in the community, a few elected officials, and they agreed on the same thing.
Yeah, slates, like I said, they did it last time and it was effective, but a lot of people afterwards really felt like it felt like they were kind of just suckered into one choice and they didn't really have a choice.
Right.
There's an illusion of choice.
Yeah, and there's another thing I wanted to mention too. So when I watched the New American Movement, I watched Andrew Molinax have his interview with David Cox. And one thing is that Andrew Molinax, he said that he was not in favor of the Pickens GOP club. Would you agree with that, or are there good or positive and good things about it?
Well, we had a meeting with conservatives upstate, Kathleen Campbell at her house. We had a dinner. And from what I gather, I mean, I've never been to the club, so I don't really know. But from what Clay Counts had said, I don't know if he stepped down from being the chairman, but he was the chairman at the time. He said that primarily they were like a town hall. They did a lot of town halls, things like that. Oh, I don't think you could ever have too many town halls. I think that's great. So no, I think there's time and a place for separate parties. But what I don't like is when there's scheming from anybody to do ballot harvesting and different things, and I believe that's going on right now. We just don't know from who, but the state has even apparently extended the makeup date, and I don't know when it actually ended, but I thought the makeup date was makeup day, but apparently they extended it another week or something. So people have been signing up and they've been getting lots of these Form 1s from these people that we don't know where they're coming from, which scares me.
Here in our county?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow.
So we don't know where they're coming from other than we have ideas that may be coming from the state, which I don't know if there's going to be a third candidate. I don't know. There's only speculation at this point, but that's what I would not agree with. If they're simply just putting more information out for the voter,
right,
100%, I love that. But if they're using the guise of Republican Party to capture and deceive people to think that they're the official party, that's where it would be inappropriate. So it's just speculation at this point. I mean, I have no proof. I have never been.
Yeah, and I would say for the most part, I would say the professionals. I went to that one forum when I ran for county council. Yep. They did an excellent job, and I would love to, at least just have a sit down with them. And
and at the dinner that we had, we actually were talking about Kathleen Campbell was going to have a survey, and we could each have the survey to give out to elected officials or just different things, or we could fill it out and send it in. And I thought that was a really great idea because it holds the party accountable. It holds the club accountable. It holds the elected officials accountable because we would all get the same survey of what's your stance on this, what's your stance of that. So that way it was on record, broadcasted on the website of the answers to the surveys. I thought that was a great idea. because it keeps transparency and accountability for the party.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And the other thing I was going to mention too is if you win for first vice chair in the county convention this coming weekend, so do you commit to completing the entire two-year terms? I know that you had said you're it's kind of up in the air for running for another elected official.
It's up in the air at this time. I don't know what the future holds because who knows if I have suspicions, but Neil Collins may not run next time.
Right.
Since I already have my name out there and have signs and everything, I may decide to run, but I don't know what life has with my kids and everything. So it may just not be a good season for me to do it. So right now, my focus is the Republican Party because I do think that the more local level is extremely important. And I definitely don't want to lose ground because I don't know if you know about this, but do you know Scott Pressler?
I don't believe I heard it.
Okay. He was a very big part of Trump winning Pennsylvania. He actually moved there. He's been traveling across the country, but he actually moved to Pennsylvania and said, I'm going to win Pennsylvania for Trump. And he did. He worked with voter recruitment. He worked with the Amish. He really, he was incredible. Well, he saw, after all that, he knows what works and what doesn't. He saw something happening in Kentucky and he said, they're about to lose a deep red seat. And nobody believed him. He said, they're not door knocking. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. He called it like week out. And sure enough, they lost that deep red seat to a Democrat. He knew it was going to happen. He said it's because Trump won and everybody's kind of sitting on their laurels. They're celebrating the victory. And I'm scared if we don't let off the gas or if we let off the gas, that it's going to happen here. Someone that we don't know is going to swoop in and steal it right out from under us because we're not expecting it and we're not door knocking. We're not active anymore.
Right. And the enrollment, at least from reorg, didn't it drop like 20% for our county?
Well, I don't know because we only expected like 15 people to show up for the makeup. And I was really just showing up because I had a few people that I'd told, hey, I didn't see you at reorg. And they were going to come and I was just going to stop and chit chat with them. Well, when I got there was a line out the door.
Oh, wow.
So I dropped my bag, I dropped my croissant, and I started helping them because we had no clue, but there was like 80 something people, like 85 people for makeup.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So we may have recouped the numbers during makeup. And then, like I said, there's a bunch of people from Foreman. But the thing is, maybe people legitimately didn't realize that the convention was happening, didn't realize about makeup. I mean, I don't want to put ill intentions on anybody signing up for the party because I think that growth is good. I just don't know how they would have found out that we extended the deadline, but not found out about convention originally or about the makeup. So I don't know. It's anybody's game what's going to happen this Saturday.
Yeah, just more power to y'all for everybody really running for this.
The body is the captain of the ship. So they're going to make their say and they're going to choose who they want to lead the ship. So
yeah, and just speaking with Tim Bruce and Rick Tate, former chairman, it's definitely a full-time job. So I definitely admire anyone stepping up to the plate.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
definitely a big commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the last thing I was going to ask you too is about Robert's Rules of Order.
Mm-hmm.
So on January the 9th at a precinct meeting in Clemson, this is just what I've heard from another member from the Pickens GOP, that you were asked about this, and he stated that Robert's rules are nice to know, but completely, and I quote, pointless, especially with the state party because we don't use them. So it's nice to know for your own sanity, but kind of pointless. So if a person doesn't know the rules, then how would you? Yeah, this first question is: so if a person doesn't know the rules, then how would you know if they're followed or not? From what this person is saying, the rules were used, and it seemed like it was pretty efficient, and the convention president was pretty well versed in the Robert's Rules of Order as well.
Correct. The thing is, the state party doesn't use Robert's Rules of Order. They just, if you call for division of, they completely ignore it. I mean, they are notorious for not following Robert's Rules of Orders. Now, on the county level, we use them to an extent, but we really need a class for people, especially new members, because they don't know that they can make a motion. They don't know how the system works. So the chair uses Robert's Rule of Order, and a few of the members, a handful, might know Robert's Rules of Orders, but we need to make a priority for the party to teach, especially new members, okay, this is how a meeting goes. This is why, because the other thing too is people don't realize that Robert's Rules of Orders is specifically designed to keep the meeting flowing. If there's a passion, a heated debate, which good, I love debate. I think that that's something we don't do enough of, because the thing is, I think debates are win-win. It either helps my resolve to the issue that I know that it strengthens my resolve to the issue, or it gives me another point of view I didn't have before. So for me, it's win-win. I love debate, and I think that it's a shame when debate is kind of stifled, but it needs to be flowing. It doesn't need to be dilatory or kind of hold up the meeting. But as long as you use Robert's Rules of Order and you go in the correct order, then you can keep the meeting flow. You can keep the meeting flowing and you keep it productive. And over the last year, we've done really well. But yet again, like I said, a lot of the new members just kind of sit back and watch. We need participation.
Yes.
So we don't really truly use Robert's Rules of Order except for when it gets heated. And that's a shame, because someone coming to the meeting that's new, they should be able to a point of information. They don't know that they can do that, though. So sometimes they leave and they're just, I'm not coming back to this. I don't understand. But we really need to teach them, because they run the ship. They really need to give them more tools to better be a part.
Right, because I know the Greenville County Young Republicans, I believe the Greenville GOPs actually had them lead a meeting before we got the youth involved, just to see how they get more experience, how a meeting works.
Because it is a shame, because then again, the state uses that to their advantage, that they really keep the meetings moving really fast, rapid fire. But no, we don't want that. But it would be nice if we empowered the new members, especially because once you've been in meetings for a while, you understand the flow of things, but a lot of new members don't.
Right.
And it's very overwhelming when you first start.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I hope when they elect the temporary president to start the meeting, they take their time and count. It seems like they rush through it because they want to get the person they want in there.
Yeah, that's
a fair way to do it.
No, that wasn't very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I happen to be a state delegate, which I hope I am again, that's something I'm considering, is running for temp president.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it seems like it's very divided in there, but it'll be a good experience.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So while you're on that air, is there anything else you'd like to mention to our viewers tonight?
I don't believe so. Just make sure to be at convention next Saturday.
Yep, it's at Southern Wesleyan University. What time does it start again?
9:30 to 10:30 is check-in, and I believe it was, I guess maybe it starts at 10:30. I know it's supposed to go till 12:30, but there's a lot of wiggle room for. It depends on how long it takes to count the votes, how long it takes to cast the votes. It's going to bring a bottle of water with you.
Yes, and it's in the basement of the dining commons, so just make sure to put that in your mind. It should take you right to it. So, Brandy, thank you for joining us this evening.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, and I hope that y'all have a good evening.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. And that concludes our show for this evening. If you have not already, please feel free to click, like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel for future updates, and also follow our Facebook page as well. I hope that everyone has had a great week so far. And we'll actually be doing 2 episodes this week. So on Wednesday, we'll be having Mr. Tim Bruce. He is the former chairman for the Pickens County Republican Party. And he's going to share with us some of his past experiences as chairman, and also his thoughts on the upcoming Republican Party convention at Southern Wesleyan this coming Saturday. So thank you for all tuning in this evening. Good night to you all, and God bless America. Thank you.